Developing £60 million talent and dominating Portuguese football with a tactical system that's caught Europe's attention. Ruben Amorim's rise has been impressive over these last 4 years. So much so, he's now joined Manchester United, and things are about to change. Could his system see important players like Rashford and Fernandes thrive, or could it leave some players positionless? Let's explore Amorim's tactics and see what it could mean for a struggling United team. Now, to make things simple, we're going to break down Amorim's tactics into 5 sections in this video. How Amorim's Sporting build out from the back, what you can expect from Amorim's style in possession, how Amorim sets up his team to press, what sort of variation there is in a low block when the press doesn't work, and most importantly, how it projects onto United. But first, let's take a look at the player roles within Amorim's system. Amorim sets his teams up in a 3-4-2-1 formation. When it comes to individual player roles, the base of the team is made up of a ball-playing goalkeeper and 3 centre-backs, who are all expected to be more than comfortable on the ball, with the outside centre-backs expected to be much more progressive than the central centre-back. In central midfield, he uses a fairly traditional number 6 and number 8 combination. The 6 acts as the ball winner, while the 8 has the license to get forward to join in passing moves and become a threat in the opposition box. Out wide are the wing-backs, but they have slightly different roles, which I'll explain. The right wing-back is more attacking and often left-footed, and the left wing-back sits slightly deeper and looks to hit crosses and through balls. Ahead of these are the 2 attacking midfielders. One acts as a fairly standard attacking midfielder and looks to create whilst offering a goal threat, and the other is often filled by an inside forward or an inverted winger who uses their speed and ball carrying to create for himself and the team. Finally, up front is a centre forward. He needs to be competent with his back to goal, and more importantly, must have the athleticism to run the channels. These roles form the basis of Amorim's Sporting. They aren't rigid, and when they play out from the back, everything can change. When it comes from playing out from the goalkeeper, the central centre-back pushes forward into the midfield line. The 2 remaining centre-backs drop back to form a 3 with the goalkeeper between them. The more attacking member of the midfield 2 pushes forward, and the right-sided attacking midfielder drops back to form a box midfield. The left-sided attacking midfielder pushes forward to form a front 2 with the centre forward, and suddenly you're looking at a 2-4-2-2 formation, or maybe a 3-4-2-2 if you include the goalkeeper. That new double pivot, it stays deep and narrow in order to bait the opposition press. And the wing-backs and the newly formed front 4 act as passing options for the centre-backs to progress it up the pitch. And here's where the current United personnel are exciting. The outside centre-back positions will most likely be occupied by Martinez and Yoro, who both are very good with the ball at their feet. Martinez specifically should thrive when playing line-breaking passes into the feet of the attacking midfielders between the lines. But it's not just these passes that will be a dangerous weapon for United. Martinez, Yoro and Onana are excellent at playing long balls into the channels, and on paper United have a very dangerous front 2 in this situation to tear teams apart. With Rashford and Hojlund's pace and willingness to run the channels, they've certainly been off form this season. Can it change in the Amorim system? It's not just about the player characteristics though, in Amorim's system. As the attacking midfielders sit narrower, the opposition fullbacks are drawn inside too. This is what helps to expose the opposition channels. In terms of what you can expect from Amorim's style in possession, once an Amorim team plays through the opposition press and get into the opposition half, they take up a 3-2-5 structure. The centre-backs have a really aggressive and high position in the opposition's half sometimes. This forces the central midfielders further forwards, where they form a 5 with the attacking midfielders in the centre forward. From here, they look to create the overloads in central areas. A lot of this you will know and have seen Erik ten Hag try to do. But United were unable to do this sustainably, and certainly not in transition, which I'll speak about soon. The wing-backs are essential here because they hold their width in order to stretch the opposition's defence and create space for the central overload. This is perhaps the wing-backs' most important job. They open up those half spaces. And at United, this is where Bruno could be a creative menace with those sort of whipped crosses into the box from deep. And Rashford could draw defenders away from Hojlund by making channel runs. This high line and focus on playing through the middle means Sporting can be exposed down the flanks when they turn the ball over though. So what do they do when they lose the ball? Well, how will Amorim set up his team to press? Well, this is where we see something we were all dying to see under Erik ten Hag. Amorim Sporting, they are aggressive without the ball. The front 3 and midfield 2 press as a unit in a pentagon shape. These players, and particularly the 2 attacking midfielders, are expected to show a lot of intensity and work very hard. The solidity through the middle of the pitch that these 5 provide sees teams attempt to attack the more vulnerable wide areas. And here is what we've been missing. That's right, the ball side wing-back steps up to join the press. Gone are the days now of midfielders being dragged out to press fullbacks and wingers making hopeless 60-yard runs back into their own half. The wing-back actually will join the press. And the defence shifts across and the far side wing-back drops into a more traditional fullback position. The shape, it might now look more like a 4-4-2, with Sporting looking to turn the ball over and counter. And how would that work at United? Well, pressing intensity isn't exactly a term most people would associate with Rashford, so there is skepticism over whether he'll be able to perform in this system. But although intensity will be expected from him, the help from the wing-back joining the press actually means he'll have far less ground to try and cover than he did in Ten Hag's system. So while there's uncertainty around his suitability, this more concentrated role could see Rashford improve, and maybe the same could be said about Garnacho. A player there is no uncertainty around is Manuel Ugarte. He's tailor-made for this pressing system. Ugarte isn't a ball winner whose strengths lay in screening the back four like a traditional defensive midfielder. He's a Kante-style ball winner. He wants to press high up the pitch and force turnovers. High risk, high reward. What happens when the risk doesn't pay off? That's a crucial aspect to understand. When the press is unsuccessful, Sporting drop back into a compact 5-4-1 defensive block. They are able to defend the centre of the pitch very well, forces the opposition out wide a lot of the times. To defend these areas, they try to force the opposition back inside by cutting off safe passes backwards. If this is successful, Sporting have bodies inside and they press aggressively to win the ball back. Amorim tries to ensure his teams pose an attacking threat at all times, even when they're defending in their own half, and this is maybe where Rashford could be a weapon. How, you ask? Well, Amorim allows his far side attacking midfielder to cheat a little bit. He has them push forward and form what is essentially a front two with a striker, and when the team win the ball back, Rashford and Hojlund with a high starting position, it could have fun. Those are the basics, really, of what we can expect from Amorim based on his time at Sporting. So who wins and who loses in this new United setup, right? As I said, Ugarte is a natural fit. Freed from ball progression and defensive shielding duties to focus on his pressing strengths, to clear winner. Martinez has positive and negatives. His precise passing and comfort in a back three would suit Amorim's system, but his lack of athleticism could expose him to quick counter-attacks in wide areas. As for Yoro, ball carrying, long passing, paired with that natural athleticism and comfortability defending wide areas, it makes him a perfect right-sided centre-back in Amorim's system. Rashford, as we have gotten used to, could thrive or struggle. Playing as an attacking midfielder will put him closer to goal, making him a bigger goal threat. He should also thrive as a ball carrier in transition. However, his ability to receive the ball with his back to goal in tight spaces is a concern. Bruno should excel with the movement of his teammates, creating constant passing opportunities, but again, the lack of ball carrying might be an issue. Perhaps the biggest winner could be Hojlund. He'll be facing the opposition goal a lot more than he has been at United. Tasked mostly with running the channels and getting on the end of balls played into the box, his role will be a lot similar to the one he performed at Atalanta. Casemiro doesn't have the legs or the security in possession that Amorim demands, so I'd expect him to move on. Garnacho could be a conundrum. Not really suited to the attacking midfield role due to the lack of creativity and composure. Could see him tried as wing-back, but I'm not sure whether that's going to work. Two wildcards who could potentially perform well in new positions though are Kobe and Ahmad. Mainu's unique ball skills could see him deployed as an attacking midfielder at times, rather than a central midfielder. And Ahmad, you may well see him tried at right wing-back. Has a lot of the same traits as Giovanni Quenda, but there'll be doubts over his physicality, and I've already covered those in a separate video. Overall, only time will tell if Amorim will succeed in implementing that identity at United where so many others have failed. A lot of the pieces are there, and the system is proven, and I hope you now understand the basics of it a little bit more having watched this video. The biggest question remaining is, can Amorim get the current squad to buy in and perform at their best level? And if he does, United's future could look a whole lot brighter.